The sun was dipping low over Maple Grove Lane in the quiet suburb of Fairview Heights, casting long shadows across neatly trimmed lawns on a humid July evening in 2024. I was sanding down a bookshelf in my garage when my phone buzzed with a text from my neighbor. "Ethan, man, you hire security or something?" I hadn't. I figured Ethan was joking until I stepped outside and saw a black SUV parked at the curb, amber lights flashing like it was auditioning for a low-budget cop show. Three guys in tactical vests were prowling my yard, one of them already halfway up my porch steps, clipboard in hand, sporting a badge that looked like it was scribbled with a marker. The patch on his sleeve didn't say police or sheriff. It read Community Standards Unit. That's when I knew this wasn't a real authority figure. This was the HOA on a power trip, and I had a sinking feeling I knew who was behind it. 2 weeks earlier, Lindace, that's her real name, had been elected president of the Fairview Heights Homeowners Association. She was the kind of person who wore oversized sunglasses and spoke in ultimatums, her voice dripping with the kind of self-righteous confidence that could make a saint second-guess their life choices. She'd already tried to fine me for my mailbox being too rustic and sent a strongly worded letter about my dog's unapproved breed aesthetic. My house, though, sat just outside the HOA's jurisdiction, a quirk of zoning from decades ago that drove Linda up the wall. She craved control, and my little plot of freedom was a splinter under her perfectly manicured nail. When I opened the door, the guy on my porch short, mirrored sunglasses, radiating mall cop energy launched into a spiel. "We've got reports of zoning violations and unauthorized commercial activity," he barked, tapping his clipboard like it was a court order. "You need to vacate this structure pending inspection." I blinked. "You mean my garage?" He doubled down, citing HOA bylaws about residential-only structures and pointing to my toolbox and folding table as evidence of a workshop. I leaned against the doorframe, forcing a smile. "Who's paying you?" He puffed up. "Community Standards Unit, authorized by the Fairview Heights HOA." That's when I knew Linda had escalated from petty complaints to hiring a fake security squad. I played along, signing their flimsy citation just to get a look at their paperwork. It was a Joe Clapart seals, legal jargon ripped from a blog, and a typo in the HOA's name. I sent them packing politely and made 3 calls. One to the real police, one to my lawyer, and one to my cousin, Nate, who owns a drone and enough tech to make a CIA agent jealous. Nate was over in 15 minutes, his drone buzzing over the SUV to snag its plates while I scanned the fake documents. A quick search confirmed they were plagiarized from a random property law site. Meanwhile, Linda rolled up in her gleaming white BMW, red lipstick glaring, barking orders at her rent-a-cops like she was directing a low-budget action flick. Nate caught it all on video. The real police showed you an officer and a detective, no less. Turns out, I wasn't the only one targeted. Ethan and 2 other neighbors had called in complaints about Linda's goons. When the detective asked for her security team's credentials, Linda launched into a tirade about community integrity and called me a rogue homeowner destabilizing property values. The detective wasn't impressed. When Officer Titan, yes, that's what one guy called himself, can't produce a real badge, they were cuffed in minutes. Linda's face went from smug to panicked as she admitted to hiring them, claiming they were certified compliance consultants. Nate's footage of her confession was gold. The police impounded the SUV, hauled off the fake cops, and left Linda screeching about lawsuits. But Linda wasn't done. A week later, a silver van with Neighborhood Oversight Division decals parked outside my house. I didn't flinch. I'd already sent Nate's footage, the fake documents, and a detailed complaint to the state's Consumer Protection Agency. 2 agents, Carter and Ruiz, showed up that afternoon, asking about unauthorized community enforcement. I handed over a USB drive with everything: Linda's rants, her fake citations, even a flyer with a QR code linking to a scam payment portal for violation fees. Agent Ruiz muttered, "That's wire fraud," when she saw it. Linda had been fleecing elderly neighbors, like Mrs. Harper, who paid $400 to avoid a fine for her non-compliant bird bath. The next day, Linda stormed up my driveway, clipboard in hand, demanding I remove unauthorized materials from my garage or face asset seizure. I grinned. "You mean my hammer?" Her eyes twitched, but she doubled down, waving a new citation. I let her rant, then calmly pointed out her forged signatures on an annexation petition she'd filed to claim my property. She froze. That night, I sent a cease and desist letter to her and her board, CC'd to the county and the real estate firm overseeing the HOA's trustee rights. The firm, fed up with Linda's antics, revoked the HOA's authority to issue fines or expand boundaries. Linda's final stand came a month later. She rallied her loyalists for a compliance sweep, marching through the neighborhood in matching polos, issuing citations for everything from excessive lawn ornaments to unapproved mailbox colors. But the tide had turned. Neighbors were done. Ethan's wife, Mia, leaked an email where Linda outlined a plan for proactive enforcement to reclaim jurisdiction. It was chilling, militaristic, and the final nail in her coffin. When Agent Ruiz returned with a sheriff's deputy and a warrant, Linda's bravado crumbled. She was cuffed in front of her own mailbox, still clutching her clipboard, as neighbors watched in silence. Mrs. Harper clapped. Linda took a plea deal, misdemeanor fraud, restitution to victims, and a public apology. Her letter to me was stiff, legalistic, but one line stood out. I lost sight of what a community should be. Was it genuine? Doubtful. But it didn't matter. The HOA was gutted, its bylaws rewritten by a new board of normal people who cared about potlucks, not power trips. I bought the strip of land Linda had coveted, a tiny lot outside the HOA's reach, and turned it into a community garden. No rules, just flowers, veggies, and a sign reading Freedom Patch. Kids planted seeds. Teens painted rocks. Even the new neighbors, Greg and Tara, pitched in with herbs, their HOA dreams quietly shelved after a failed revival meeting crashed by my flyer exposing Linda's reign. Looking back, the chaos was worth it. We didn't just stop a bully, we rebuilt a neighborhood. But as I sip coffee on my porch, watching kids bike down the street, I wonder, could another Linda rise? What would you do if someone tried to control your home with fake badges and forged papers? Would you fight or let it slide? And how far is too far when it comes to community standards? Drop your thoughts below. Let's get this conversation going. And if you want more stories like this, hit that like button and subscribe for the next chapter.